What is up, guys? Welcome to another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. Hope you guys are having an amazing start of the week. In today's video, guys, we're gonna talk about the Planar Expedition. I am on the main account. We're gonna try a few different teams. We're gonna talk about why this content is fairly important, and I'm gonna show you what teams I'm going to save. Now, thankfully, I already have some teams prepared for the Chief Challenges. I have some of the teams that I've prepared in the past for this particular content, and I don't actually have to do tons and tons of work in order to basically achieve the best possible results for my account, more or less. I will be doing a different video from the free-to-play account where we're talking about my 4 teams for the Continental Challenge. I know I've done videos from the main account showing you some of the craziest teams available and stuff, at least for the second week. But I want to show you the difference from the free-to-play account as well, to kind of like give you an idea of what you could possibly achieve if your characters are not fully inspired, if your psychic core is on a lower tier, etc. But that's going to be in the next video. As I was saying today, the Planar Expedition. Do me a favor, if you enjoy the content, smash a like, subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. Now, why is this content important? It's, of course, all about rewards. Recently, at least in Season 2, they've changed this system with the Alliance points ranking, where you're comparing with alliances from different servers as well. Now, the main thing is that more or less you're still getting the same affinity solvent. That's why it's so important. The more affinity solvent you're going to be able to get, the better your psychic core, and overall, the better your progression, because you're going to be able to accumulate higher rewards in all of the content. Plus, you are getting some fragments for legendary characters. In Alliance points, this is something that changed as well. You gotta do top 10, but everybody's getting the same amount of affinity solvent, and the only difference is that you're going to get more medals of glory or less medals of glory, which will allow you to purchase cosmetics. But the most important thing is the affinity solvent. Then you have the server-wide points rankings. Right here as well, is not something extremely important. There is no affinity solvent, but you can still accumulate fragments for legendary characters, okay? And this tends to be a bit more competitive depending on your server, of course. On top of all of that, you will acquire these chests that will give you the progress XP, which is very important. You're gonna get that when you knock out all of these little side elemental bosses, which will unlock all of these chests, okay? You're getting fragments for legendary scrolls, so overall, pretty damn important. And you're getting some essence of creation as well. Now, let's talk about the boss. This week, the boss is taking additional damage from poison, lightning, and ice, increased by 30%. There are 2 different variations of the bosses, if I'm not mistaken. At least I've only paid attention to 2 of them. One will stun your entire team, 1 or 2 will not stun your team. So that is very important, because when you have this rotation, this will stun your team, okay? And just because of that stun, everything will kind of like get messed up. You see AoE stun right here, and you have the defense penalty, and the other one is putting attack penalty. Now, this stun will throw your team off sync, so one of the best approaches to it is to build your team with some resistance, or have some characters that can dispel, have some control immunity, or completely ignore it and do less damage. The thing is, if you have a powerful team, once you're going to get in the sync to constantly kill the bosses, they're just not going to have a chance to stun you anymore, as long as you are killing them fast enough. And that is actually pretty good. It tends to work well with poison. It tends to work well with necrosis, thunder. We're talking about AoE damage that can absolutely demolish these bosses. On Season 2, this is not going to be a daily thing. It's going to be a weekly thing, where you have 3 challenges per week, per event. I think you start with 2, then it goes up to 3. Let me just quickly walk you through some of the teams that I've tried so far. So this is my Necrosis team. without a doubt, Necrosis will be the most powerful team for the majority of the players. Now, right here, I haven't really done much. Basically, I'm using the exact same team I'm using versus the Chief Challenge Elton. Okay. One of the things that I do need to change, of course, in order to get more damage, is to drop this Durango, this Drugo's Blast Jar. I'm not sure why I'm always calling it Durango for whatever reason, and bring in some resistance onto the champion. I will have to get a resistance banner in here as well, and once I'm sorted with the resistance without sacrificing too much survivability, because that can be an issue, 300 with the 50 that we have from the core should be enough. This should boost my damage even more. In terms of skill timing, once again, I haven't really changed anything. They will get stunned and stuff like that. This team will struggle a little bit to survive. As you can probably notice, we have no healers in the team. We only have Jern, which is going to pop battle skills and ultimates left and right. In fact, I could actually change this to a different artifact. It doesn't really matter which artifact. As long as I'm keeping the accuracy up and running, I could go with a Rift Hourglass and basically change a bit his skill timing. Make sure he's going to use them as often as possible. Crown of the Unclean, just not great for this particular boss, right? So it's kind of like no point in using it. So I can put him on default from 14 to 19.5. Keep him like that. I need to remember to adjust that, of course, when I'm going to go back to the Chief Challenge. And let's dive straight into the run. If your characters do not survive, at least if not all of them survive, try to get one of the healing pieces on the characters that are dying. My Centralia was always getting pretty damn low, so that was a bit of a problem. You see, we got a stun right there that can desync your entire team, which can be a problem. Centralia died right now, so what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna go crying. I'm just gonna retry it, because I know for a fact that I've already managed to do almost 2 billion damage with the previous run without doing the required changes to improve my damage, and my team survived till the end. Now, there is a bit of an RNG with this, but as I was saying, if you're doing 5-6 runs and they're constantly going to die, you should consider putting in a healing piece. The positioning, it will play a pretty important role to make sure that you are able to target more or less all of the enemies. None of them take additional necrotic damage in here, so that's not going to be helpful at all. Something to keep in mind. But there you go. We are at a point where now, whenever they spawn back, my Lelwonis is just going to absolutely dump them down, okay? Or at least most of them. One of them survived right there. Probably we did not have the defense down. Even though we are getting a decreased attack, we're getting the defense down on, we're still putting in pretty good numbers. One thing that could improve my damage is add resistance on everybody. Maybe change John from here, bring in a Thorin, spread the resistance with a talent. I won't be getting the decreased attack, and bang, that would absolutely solve the issue. Or even if I'm not planning to build resistance on all of them, I can just put Lelwonis in front of Thorin, and Thorin will cleanse my Lelwonis, so she will never have the decreased attack. And that could potentially give me more damage, or it could potentially be more or less the same. Why? Mainly because we won't go on a 16-second cycle, okay? Now, if we get rid of that stun by having resistance on everybody, we are guaranteed to always go on that 18-second cycle, as long as we're not getting debuffed because an X an X chance procced and the stun still landed, right? But that's basically the whole idea on how I would build any of the teams, regardless if it's the Necro, Poison, Rally, or whatever. Getting the resistance should definitely be something that you will consider. Now, I think the next best team is going to be either Thunderbolt, either Ice Blast, because the bosses will take additional damage from Ice Blast. We can just put them in a right corner and do as much damage as possible. But we're going to get to that in a second. I just wanted to show you that the stun is still proccing every now and then. It's not proccing every rotation. because sometimes one of the bosses might stay alive, or it might not. We might not kill all of them at the same time. And every now and then, they will have a chance to use the skill that stuns. And that is the left boss right here. And that is with his second skill. So we want to make sure that boss doesn't have the chance to do that. If we ensure that, our damage will be spot on, because we're going to move really, really fast. And as you can see, we don't really have that issue anymore, because we're just absolutely demolishing the bosses now. We're only at 1.2 billion damage. I'm curious to see if we're going to break the 2 billion, because I did not have the ribcage on Ursula's before. And one of the things that I've just realized, my Ursulas could potentially desync because of it. So maybe he desynced already, I did not notice. And maybe sometimes my Lelwonis, because the rest were getting stunned, but Ursula's not, maybe she went in without having those buffs, right? The increased attack, the increased damage. So that is a possibility as well. But we do seem to have a pretty good amount of damage right here. We are at 1.6 billion. Of course, this team will deal more damage the longer the fight goes in, because it takes a while for Lelwonis to kind of like go ham on the enemies. So where are we? 1.7. This definitely doesn't seem as good as the one I've done before without actually implementing those changes. Now that, of course, can be RNG, just for the simple fact that we got more stuns on our team now. Something probably desynced. So that's one of the options that you can do in here. So this is 1.8. Let me just see what I've done before, where I've put my screenshot. Is it here? So before I had 1.932 without putting the ribcage on him. Now I quickly actually want to try if I'm bringing in Thorin instead. How will that play out? I should have the team prepared somewhere, right? So we have Ursula's Necro. No, that's not what we need. Planar Necro 2. That is one of the options. I mean, this could potentially work. What I'm going to do, I'm just quickly going to sync my builds. So we're going to sync this with Planar. We're going to sync this with Planar. And we're going to sync this with Planar. And then we're going to bring that team in without Jur, right? So we're going to use something slightly different. I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to push in more damage, or we're not going to be able to do more damage. Because I want to show you kind of like a few different variations, right? Oh, I've just realized I've put the wrong one on him, but that's fine. We're going to change that in a second. So you can go at the front, you can go right there, you can go right there, you can go right there. And I'm quickly going to give him some resistance, right? We want to make sure we have that ribcage to be able to squeeze in more damage, because that's going to be really helpful. And it's just a quick resistance negative rune. Any of them would get the job done right now. And skill timing on this, I can't really remember exactly what I had, but it's something like this. It's going to be 18 seconds, okay? Thorin can go on auto, it doesn't really matter. I could potentially even get the wave breaker, because hey, we're going to have enough healing. But I'm going to do a combat simulation. We're not going to stay into the fight. I just want to see if I can do more than 1.9. If I cannot do more than 1.9, I'm going to go back to my previous team and retry it a few more times. But I'll be doing that probably after, or we'll see. So this is 1.2. Seems like Centralia died pretty early. That could have been at the very, very beginning, which really sucks because the damage is not looking too good. So we're going to go again at it. Hopefully this time we won't have any surprises with Centralia. You've seen on the previous try as well, she died extremely, extremely quick, right? 1.17, she died again. So it doesn't seem necessarily to work better. So you know what? I'm just going to go back and bring in my initial team. Alton Necro. We're going to bring that in. And no, that's not the one actually. It's this one. So I'm going to modify this on him quick. Once again, the same change. It doesn't really matter. if we have or we don't have any other crazy things on. It's just basically getting that resistance up and running. And on Journ, we can change the artifact because, you know, I can even go with this. I can even go with this. I feel like this accuracy would be enough, so we can land more debuffs back onto the enemies. And I'm going to go in like this. We're going to have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 retries. It doesn't really matter to me because you have plenty of them. And this should work as long as Centralia doesn't die early. But for whatever reason, even though she's inspired and stuff, she tends to die earlier than others. So this is 2 billion damage straight off the back. I've only really gained with a Titan Ribcage around 70 million, 68 million. So it's not like a huge gain. But you know what? I'm going to save this one because I want to show you different ones. I'm not too stressed about being #1 on the server or anything like that because I'm not getting any affinity solvent from there. And that is not really a priority for me. I want to show you what would be the next best team. So I do have a pretty good poison team as well. The thing is, it's not really performing that great in here. I could try and play it around a bit with Ogog, build them resistance, and maybe do some other funky things like that. I've managed to do 1 billion with this on the second week, right? With this team. I haven't even upgraded their builds or anything like that. But now it's just not really performing as great. It doesn't matter if you position them on the side, on the middle, on the left. They will do AoE damage. So it's not as important. But just in case, if any of you guys want to see any funky things, we can do it like this, right? So let's crack on with one of the runs. But first, you can see the builds. This is Lothair. He has pretty good stats, even though I haven't really sorted the builds fully for them. That's Twitch. You can see the talents on them as well. That's Corin. Not full talents. We have Slay right here. I'm using Slay as a replacement for Durango. A lot of you guys are asking, is he the replacement for Twitch? Hell no. Hell no. But I do think that the best character to be replaced by him is Durango. And then we have Reyta. Now, Reyta can give me healing. We do have the Titan Ribbing here. We have tons of things that could potentially do good work. And we're going to use an Enlightenment Aura. The problem is that the stun will land. We're not dealing additional damage versus these bosses in particular with our element, with the poison, right? And because of it, the damage feels a bit underwhelming. Or at least what I've tried this week on this rotation felt pretty weak, only at 566 million. But everybody survived, right? It's not like we lost any characters or stuff like that. But 500 million is just not cutting it for me, okay? I just wanted to show you how the poison will perform as well. The next thing that I'm going to show you, because I'm not going to use it, so I just quickly want to give you guys a quick showcase of it, is going to be Planar Rally. So we're going to run a rally team. We're going to have a cleansing here. We're going to have the immunity as well, so that will help us quite a bit. Of course, we won't be able to deal with the stun. Preferably, either you put them on a side, either you put them like this. Once again, this doesn't really matter with them because some of them do AoE damage, some of them do single target damage. It's not as important necessarily. I do have the skill timing in the following way. So on her 18 seconds, I could let her go run let her run wild if I want to, but she's not really gonna change much anyway. This is the build on Huberg. You can see the talents. You only want to have like 60% crit rate because you're gonna get a crit rate boost anyway from your Laurentide. Now Gladys will have an exclusive artifact, which seems very, very powerful. So I'm looking forward to get a Dub Gladys and save it for the artifact. That's my Laurentide. I haven't upgraded their builds in quite a while either, to be honest. That's Elton. He will apply the defense down. And Asilia. Now this team does close to 1 billion. At least last week it dealt close to 1 billion. I'm expecting slightly less in here just because of the stun, right? But either way, they should be able to put in some decentish numbers. It really depends how much is that stun messing us up, right? 641, it seems like we lost them pretty early in here. So this is just kind of like a game of try and retry to make sure they're not dying, right? I could build them with resistance as well. So if you build them with resistance, you don't have to worry about the stun. But of course, you will be losing some of the damage. But it might come to a good at a good cost, right? Because if you trade a bit of damage for survivability, you ignore the stun, it might actually turn out in bringing you more damage. Now, I know my buddy Niva dealt around 900 million damage this week, but he was running Gillian instead of Asilia with resistance build, right? I just wanted to show you this team as well, without actually doing too many changes to them. They're not benefiting from a bonus elemental damage, so I'm not planning to use them. This is something just in case if you want to use them instead of a different team. Now, Wild will not really perform good. I will show you one burn team as well. We can go with one of these, and then we're going to go with one with Skratch, right? So let's give it a go as it is. So one simulation combat. You're going to see how burn performs in here. I will show you the builds after. It's basically the same team that I'm running versus Ursilas in the Chief Challenge. Let's see. Can we beat Rally? Not really. Everybody survived. We had 624 million damage. What if we're bringing in Skratch instead? So this should be with Skratch, and I will probably give him his exclusive artifact. I think he's gonna be better, yeah. So let me just give him his exclusive artifact over the Pipe Org. And where the heck is it? There we go. Right. Oh, but I have a full attack build. That's fine. You know what? Let's give him a full attack build as I had it before. I was just testing to see if I can pull off some different things with him instead of a different character. The thing with him in here, he should be working slightly better than it would work in the Chief Challenge. Because I think the debuffs stay on the enemies even if you kill them. But I might be wrong. Yeah, this did not turn out to be that good. I've just realized that he's not in a good positioning in here, and we can play it like this. It might be a bit better. But either way, there's no elemental damage to burn either. Wild will suck, especially whenever you have this stun rotation. Wild always sucks. It was the same in Season 1. It will be the same right now. So everybody survived. 491 million damage. We actually got less damage, but that, of course, is because the Skratch is now really built properly for this. If I'm going to go back to it, because we are moving in quite a few different teams right here. So burn out of the window. I'm going to go with my Vortex team, right? So let's use Vortex. You want to position them all on the far left. This will take additional damage from cold, okay? And it's literally skill timing from my Temporal Vortex, more or less. There you go. And you've seen these builds before. You've seen the builds before. Kind of like know what stats, talents we have, but I'm quickly going to show them to you as well in case if you've missed any of those videos. And that's Beldele right here. Let's crack on with one of these. This will take me to 1.2, 1.3. That's the latest that I've done was 1.299. If I get over it, I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to move on to the final team that I'm going to show you. 1294, okay. I mean, whatever. I can do 4 more challenges on this, and let's hope we're breaking the 1.3. That should be the main goal. The thing is, they're not even killing the other enemies, right? As often as an AoE damage team would do. But they're just doing so much freaking damage versus that one enemy. That is crazy. Plus, we do have control immunity from Felocia. We have the healing. We have the shield. We have a lot of things that work in our favor, including the immunity and the cleanse, which get rid of that decreased attack. So the team can pump in a lot of damage, right? And we are focused on killing the one that stuns us. So that's even more important because we're not going to get that stun smacking us in the face as often. What I could try and do is put a ribcage on my Felocia here and come back at it. Like, literally. I just thought about it right now because I don't have her on. I could easily give her a rib cage. And I don't need a vest. Like, I'm already surviving without any problems, right? So I can do that. And let's see, a resistance. Anything with some enlightenment. Perfect. There you go. So I have plenty of resistance. And that should give me even more damage now. At least on paper. I can get rid of the Tidal Surge and go with Wave Breaker. Because I have plenty of survivability. And let's see if we can break 1.3 now. If we cannot break 1.3 right now, it means that we might have to fire the rib cage and quit our job or something like that. Okay, much better. Much, much better. Almost 1.4. You know what? I said 4 tries. We're gonna save this. So just by doing that little change, we managed to add over 100 million damage, right? So we're gonna save that one on 1.3 from there. And the final team that I'll be showing you guys, which is worth using, is going to be Thunderbolt. If you don't have Thunderbolt, you can do similar things that with Dauntless as I did with my Ice Blast team. Of course, most likely the results won't be as great, but hey. Now, with my Thunder team, I have this as an option, but they have no resistance build. Okay, so this is not going to be helpful at all. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to go with my Polwar Thunder. The reason why I'm going to use this team is because they have resistance. You see, resistance, resistance, resistance. So that stun should not create us any issues. Now, what's very important in here, you want to have her at the very front to make sure she won't be missing out on defense down. The middle enemy will take additional lightning damage. We're going to run this Enlightenment Aura, and we're going to run, of course, the Wave Breaker. Skill timing for the team is right here. I should change this first cast because it's completely irrelevant versus these bosses, but I really don't want to mess up my entire team and then I'll have to basically put in the skill timing back onto it. But these are the builds. You've seen this in 2 different videos, actually. That's my Perkunte. Ogok. We have Haldi right here. And we have Nissa. So let's go in. This should be, now considering that Ice Blast dealt almost 1.4, this should be the 3rd best team. Unless we have some better RNG and we're going to beat that. And that all comes down to Nissa, basically. Is she going to miss a lot of defense down? Is she not? 1.282. I have 9 tries. I want to get at least 1.3. So I'm not feeling like there's a huge difference in between Ice Blast and Thunderbolt. Even though it's AoE versus single target, you see that Ice Blast is falling a bit short in here, comparing it with the Necrosis or comparing it even with Ice Blast, which absolutely demolished that one boss, yeah? Okay, come on. Give me 1.3. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Let's see, where are we? There we go, 1.324. So I'll save this one. I'm happy with it. And that's it. I'm done for this week. Now, I'm curious what I am in the Alliance. In the Alliance, I'll be number 1. If we are going to server-wide points, I'll be top 3. Probably I'll end up top 10. I don't really care, right? There's no Affinity Solvent. There's just basically a few of these. Yeah, there's no Affinity Solvent. It's just this. But hey, I'll take that too. And the thing is, the Alliance points ranking, that's something to do with my entire clan, basically. I just wanted to show you what teams you should be running on the Planar, at least this week. What are the best options? If you have a much powerful Necro team, if you have a I5 Centralia, there's going to be a huge damage boost. If you have better gear on your Lerwonis, if you have a much better Psychic Core than mine, that as well is going to be a huge boost for you too. But that was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.